17 alien species died on this planet. And now they've sent humans just to watch us die. But there's one thing the galaxy didn't expect. We didn't just survive. We took over. They thought we'd be dead in the first 3 minutes, but 3 minutes later, we started conquering. Planet RZ0. Nicknames include the Galaxy's Crematorium, the Sulfur Gate of Hell, and simply the Zone of No Return. 17 alien species landed on its surface. 17 extinction events, no survivors. RZ0 doesn't need monsters. The planet is the nightmare. A sulfur-rich atmosphere that can liquefy lungs in minutes. Atmospheric pressure that crushes warships in seconds. And a constant electromagnetic storm that erases satellites and cuts off all communication in a heartbeat. Then the Galactic Council made a decision. Send humans. Not the ancient dominant races. Not the hyper-evolved technocracies. But humans, the upstart species that barely reached interstellar travel less than a century ago. Leading the mission, Evelyn Reeve, former intelligence officer of Earth's military, a survivor of the infamous Night of Broken Wind on Titan, where 92% of her unit perished. She knows exactly what this mission is. Behind the ceremonial words, "Claim this world for humanity," lies the real message. Humans are too dangerous to keep around. Let this planet take care of them for us. As the landing vessel pierced the first toxic cloud layer, one crew member whispered, "We're bait in a trap that swallowed entire civilizations." But Evelyn didn't come to die. She didn't come to beg for survival. She came with humanity's flag. She carried the memory of fallen comrades, of wars they never asked for, and she carried one order: plant the flag, survive, or don't come back. 3 minutes after landing, the toxic alarms screamed. One soldier collapsed. Armor began to boil. The galaxy waited for the humans to fall. But we didn't fall. We stood up. We laughed. And we moved forward. That's when RZ0 noticed. And that's when Evelyn realized the planet wasn't fighting them. It was watching, waiting to see what they'd do next. We landed expecting death, but the planet whispered our names in the dark. On the very first night, everything started to go wrong. Not because of an attack, but because of the dreams. Evelyn dreamt of memories that weren't hers. Fallen ancient cities, songs echoing from deep underground, and a massive eye staring up through the red dust. Lyle Monroe, a former combat medic who once survived an artillery strike in Syria, began hearing whispers every time he closed his eyes. "We were like you once." The planet didn't try to kill them, it watched, it whispered, it was choosing. And Evelyn slowly realized the Galactic Council didn't just want her to fail, they wanted her to find something they were too afraid to face. They expected us to choke and die, but we took off our helmets and laughed. After 3 days of electric storms and bizarre dreams, Evelyn gave the order no one had dared before: remove the helmets. The air reeked of sulfur and rusted metal, like standing in a Newark landfill in July, Kyle joked. But no one died. They coughed, and then they laughed. Red dust clung to their armor like dried blood. Boots cracked the brittle ground with a sound like snapping bones. From the alien observation station, 17 galactic species watched the live feed and froze in silence. One elder whispered in horror, "They didn't die?" Kyle chuckled and muttered under his breath, "Maybe we were never the underdogs. Maybe humans have always been the apex predators. And the galaxy just hasn't realized it yet." Evelyn didn't respond, but in her eyes something ancient was awakening. We dug into the ground and uncovered something older than the galaxy itself. After surviving the impossible, Evelyn's team ventured deeper into a fresh tectonic fissure. What they found wasn't ruins, it was a living city, still pulsing. Walls that breathed, lights that blinked like nerves, structures that flinched when touched. Lyle whispered, almost afraid of his own words, "We didn't find remnants. We found a body." At its core stood a strange orb radiating signals in an ancient tongue. The message was chilling. We left, not because we were destroyed, but because we transcended flesh. Before Evelyn could respond, Kyle stared up at the vaulted ceiling and muttered, "What if humanity wasn't born on Earth, but was exiled there?" No one replied, but in that silence, a terrifying truth began to settle in. One man stayed behind to save humanity's claim to a forbidden world. The electromagnetic storm tore through the underground city, obliterating all communications. Evelyn ordered a retreat. But Kyle, the communications engineer, volunteered to stay behind, manually rebooting the satellite array in conditions no life form was expected to survive for more than 10 minutes. Before the storm consumed him, Kyle sent one final transmission. "If one has to stay so the rest can live, I volunteer." Maria broke down in tears. Evelyn dropped to her knees in the howling wind, whispering, "I swear I won't let your death be in vain." And as the blood-red sky erupted behind her, only one silent thought echoed. Maybe humans aren't the strongest species, but we're the only ones willing to die to become legends. They expected us to beg for rescue, but we sent back a declaration of dominance. The moment Kyle's final signal pulsed through the void, the entire galaxy braced for a desperate cry for help. Instead, Evelyn transmitted a video, her figure standing in the heart of the storm, blood and ash streaked across her armor, eyes locked onto the lens. This planet didn't kill us, it welcomed us. At that same moment, Maria, once orphaned by war, cradled a native infant creature that had shielded her from the wreckage. She named it Hope. The message spread across star systems, and with it, the whispers began again. Maybe humanity isn't just surviving. Maybe this is the start of something else, where we don't wait for a seat at the table, we take the whole damn table. They brought scientists to study us, but left fearing what we've become. 1 month after Evelyn's transmission, the Galactic Council landed on RZ-0 with their top science delegation. Officially, they came to assess the situation. Unofficially, no one believed humans could survive. What they saw left the entire delegation speechless. Amid sulfur storms and scorched earth, the humans had built a city. A stunned diplomat muttered, "They built this in 30 days?" Evelyn stepped through the city gate, her cloak stained crimson with dust, voice sharp as steel. "We are not survivors. We are successors." No one responded. But in the eyes of the aliens, a silent fear began to take shape. Perhaps they were witnessing the next dominant species. They thought we'd share everything, but we locked them out instead. Right after the Council's inspection, they demanded full access to all data on the underground biotechnology. Evelyn simply smiled. An hour later, all planetary communications went dark. Satellites offline, entire systems locked. The alien delegation realized, with growing horror, humans had taken control of the entire infrastructure. A panicked scientist whispered, "They've already touched the core." Standing at the heart of Genesis Point, Evelyn transmitted a message that echoed across the galaxy. "If you fear those who cannot die, then fear us." And once again, the whispers reignited. Maybe humans were never weak, just the only species smart enough to hide their claws until no one could stop them. They thought humans were underdogs, but what if we were the quiet monsters all along? With communication severed, the alien delegations withdrew. Not a word of protest, not a single demand. But their eyes no longer saw Evelyn as a commander. They saw a threat. Inside the control chamber, Maria asked, "What are we going to do with this technology?" Evelyn didn't answer right away. Her eyes were locked on a star map, not just of RZ0, but of unexplored systems far beyond. "We don't need war. We just won't let anyone stand in our way." Across interstellar forums, conspiracy threads exploded. What if the Council didn't send humanity to die, but to see if they were ready to replace them? They sent us here to die. Now they fear what we've become. On the 1-year anniversary of human settlement, there was no celebration. Just the soft hiss of fire rain falling from GX-0's atmosphere onto the dome of Genesis Point. Evelyn stood silently before Kyle's statue, the young engineer who gave his life to activate the satellite grid. Her eyes carried no words, only a heavy, enduring sorrow. Beside her, Maria cradled Hope, the alien child she had rescued. The little one giggled in human arms. No one mentioned the Galactic Council anymore. No one spoke of missions, because now they all knew. Humanity was no longer a visitor. They were the founders. The wind whispered across the blood-red square. Evelyn looked up into the storm-lit sky and said, "They sent us here to die, but now they're the ones living in fear."